Hello, this is Artsy Wisdom. My name's Diane. I wanted to share some stuff with you today. I got some really interesting visions, and because I started off with P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, whatever, and I ended up following a trail, and it took me through Jay-Z, Beyonce, 50 Cent, and Tupac. I know very little about hip hop and rap, as much as on my little finger, which is actually pretty good because that means that I'm not stuck in some sort of dynamic that's already existing, that so that way I don't even know pretty much what's going on. Anyway, so that helps. I went on a soul level, little soul travel, and figured out what's going on. These are all my mystical musings. Take it or leave it. Some of you comment. Nice people comment lovely things. People who are questioning what my purpose is. More power to you. If this is not your channel, this is not your channel. I do my best. I like to help people. I have a connection to spirit. I believe in God. I have a deep faith. And I think we're all connected as one. It may not fall into a typical lane for some people, but then that's okay. Anyway, my heart is in the right place. I know it is. So if you like this, great. Thank you for all my new subscribers. Thank you for my likes and shares. And I noticed that I don't always get the links on correctly. So I'm going to work on that. So let's get started. Do me a favor and subscribe and just click on the link or the little bell so you can get notifications. It helps with the algorithm. You guys know this already. Do all the YouTube-y things. Everybody who watches YouTube pretty much knows that. Those of you who are new, I have two different ways that I get my images or visions or my mystical musings. And that is sometimes I sit and I meditate and I go into a deeper trance. I go into a place where my ego is put aside and I just see images, some of which are about food and some of them are just images. So those I have to write down on my notes. Sometimes I do readings with tarot cards where I get things instantly. And I go back and forth depending on what I'm feeling is necessary at the time. For this situation, I've been interested in P. Diddy and all the, the raiding of his homes in Miami and I think New York or California. I don't remember. See how little I know. And I wanted to see what is going on in his mind or what's going to happen in the future-ish. I just wanted to know about Diddy, and I have heard that, or I watch a channel, Emily D. Baker. She's a lawyer. And she's amazing. She is so interesting and thorough and knowledgeable about these court cases. So she's really great. If you guys don't know who she is, follow her. But she was reading some of the documents from his case. And what it sounds like is there's lots and lots of evidence that came up through civil cases. And then through that evidence, they turned into, some of this became criminal evidence. So they have lots and lots of recordings, I guess, hours and hours of recordings by some of the people that work for him. So I do not think he's got an easy road ahead, but I wanted to look into his energy. Sometimes I can get in a person's energy from their perspective. And so what I did was immediately when I was thinking about or feeling about P. Diddy, I saw him on a raft in the ocean. It was dark-ish, and there was nobody around him. For sure, nobody around him. And it was like an old wooden raft, the kind that you make with logs. And he wanted to be there, reluctantly. So maybe that relates to his being isolated a little bit. But it felt like he was okay there, but he was kind of coming to terms with what was happening. And And then, well, I might have to refer to my notes. But it's very, oh, there's some guilt. I wrote the word guilt on here. But then I asked about what's going on with him in this situation, because there's a lot of evidence. So a lot of it's true that they're claiming it is. And what I saw him in his past life, because I said, well, what's the point of this life? What was he supposed to achieve on a soul level that he did these things? And was very loose with laws and morality. So I saw him in a past life as a soldier, but not like, a World War II. This was like back in, the thing that came to me was Genghis Khan, like between, I guess, where India, Tibet, to Asia, to the Middle East, he conquered a huge swath of the continent of, I guess it's Asia, Europe. Anyway, I saw, it wasn't Genghis Khan. He wasn't Genghis Khan, but I saw him as one of his soldiers, like a higher up one. And he had this uniform, but, it was like some metal parts, but there was a chest protector that was leather and rivets and things, and him on a horse. And the feeling I got was he was powerful. And this life, that was a long time ago. So I think it was like whenever, I don't even know when Genghis Khan was around. So I didn't learn it in school. I guess I don't remember. But what I saw him as, he's continuing that feeling of conquering, or he came into this life knowing he could do that. It's a different method, obviously, and a different time. But it was this image of him going, I can do what I want, take whatever woman I want. I can get people to do things for me, and I'm dominant over them. And he wanted to continue conquering and living uncompromisingly, is the word I put. And for him, redemption, on a soul level, I'm talking, redemption may be new in this life. So then, cut back to him on the raft, I see him beached. He's automatically up on the beach, and I thought, and then he immediately gets off and he goes up this hill and the mountain, and the sun is rising on the other side of the mountain. And he gets up there pretty quick, and he wants to just sit like the monk, kind of meditative, and sit and watch the sunrise. But yeah, and I see him shaving off his hair. Not that he would do that probably, but I think it's symbolic of him wanting to renew himself or get in that state of prayer, recovery, redemption, renewing, whatever that is. And I don't know if this is like in real life or in his head or, soul level, like I said. But he couldn't stay there, because the next thing I knew, he was back down at the beach. And they were, because I know in real life he has all this money and he can't just, say, okay, I'm sorry, and go up. Well, he could, but I see him at the shore, and it's dark out because the light is on the other side of the mountain. And when he did go up there, he was there, but he immediately, he's giving away lots of money to his right and lots of money to his left, more to his right. And it felt so heavy. And then I saw this kind of, the old-fashioned bread boxes where it has a curved top and you pull it and it goes down and opens it like that. That's the look I got. It looks like he was covering this up, the big metal kind of bread box, door or, cab, whatever it would be called. And he's putting money in there and giving it to the people or the things, but it was so thick and so heavy that it was like he couldn't pull himself away from that situation. To his left, there was money given. It wasn't as heavy. So I don't know if this would be two different problems, indictments, situations. I know there's the different legal cases against him that are civil, but there's just one now, I think. No. And I don't think this is that. I think this is the criminal part of it. But it's so dense. And I think he's putting lawyers in there, and there was bread box. He's putting people to help clear his name. But there's two parts of this, because he comes from this life or whatever, where he's wants to be in charge and conquer. And now that he has much of his life, the Bad Boy Productions, I guess it was, he now is having to learn humility. That is the one thing that I realized. He can't move. He has to stand there and take his punishment, take the blame, take the feelings, receive all the stuff, be confronted with his weakness or his overindulgences or crimes, whatever, or hurting people and women and men even, and abusing his authority. And so he has to take that. And that's where he's at. He's on the shore of this, I guess it would be an island it's on. But the mountain is there, and he wants to go there, but he can't. So I think this life for him, this is my theory, is about him getting caught and then learning from it and having redemption. But the thing is when I asked, well, once he gets, say, down the road, does he have to go to prison? I did see he's going to maybe wiggle out of a few of those things. I do feel like he's going to probably, and this is not, hard and fast, but I do think probably he's going to have to spend some time in jail of some kind. Yeah. And the other thing is, I asked, is he going to feel remorse? And he will. But because of that mindset from that previous life where he is conquering and dominant and taking what he wants, who he wants, it's still there. That's the feeling. It's still there. And he will learn through this process by the time he gets to the end of his life, whenever that is. But this is an important lesson, obviously, for him and on a soul level. So I thought that was really interesting. So on a soul level, he has to find redemption. And he said, the new sunrise over the mountain was like a new day. That's what he wanted to get to, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. He's got that giant bread box of heavy. It's like huge. It's like the size of a person. It's really big. Anyway, so that was Diddy. And then I had seen something, and I was thinking about Beyonce recently because I know this album is very popular, and she's coming out with another one, I think, and Jay-Z, and I think that's all related, Jay-Z and him, I could be wrong, to Bad Boy Productions way back in the day. Could be wrong. So I got into Jay-Z's energy, and I got into his body, and he is, I feel big when I'm in it, but quiet. I feel big, like I'm not moving a lot. I feel solid, so it could be all symbolic, but I feel solid. I'm not moving around. And all of a sudden I hear the word Moses, and Moses to me is one of my leader mentors. And I'm thinking, is he being a leader? I know he's got a big production company. But then I see him like a podium where he's flipping papers, and I realize it seems like music, like he's a conductor. So I'm interpreting that in old-fashioned production. I'm sure now they have the music boards and sound boards or whatever they are in studios, but this wasn't that. It was sheets of music on a podium, and he was a conductor. Didn't see the hands going, but he is. So I took that as he's conducting, he's leading, he's taking charge. And then I, I, I asked, and then I did see him riding a motorcycle. I don't know if he's into motorcycles, but that kind of gave him the adrenaline push that he might look for. I don't know if that's even accurate. I have no idea. But then I see Beyonce coming. Like I said, I followed the trail. Then I see Beyonce coming. And besides, in this house, which is kind of light, a lot of light, I see paintings. I can't tell you what they look like, but they're larger. And she's coming towards me. And he looks at her and finds her very, very attractive. There's no like criticism in his mind. He's just watching her come towards him. But she is much more vocal. Immediately I hear yelling. Not yelling, screaming, but just a lot of noise and talking. And not in a bad way at him, but she just seems more like he was quiet, really quiet. And let's see. And then Beyonce was hard because I couldn't get into her. I went into her energy and I felt I was in this kind of tracksuit thing, but I'm sure that's not right. But I felt thinner. I felt like my belly was thinner. And at one point, this is a side note, in the previous videos months ago, I had heard that she would get pregnant. Time is a funny thing. I know she's like 42 or 43. I asked her again about this. I feel like it's a possibility. I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel like it's still a possibility, but I think they're working too hard on these other things. And so I felt her energy and I asked her what she wanted to do. And she said she wanted to, because I know she's come out the album, I thought she's going to make more music. And I saw down the road or down the timeline, because what I see is a line with a timeline, I saw her wanting to direct. Don't even know if that's accurate, if she produces videos on her own, but and I saw it like down the way a little bit. She wants to direct, be part of a production. And I almost felt it wasn't just music videos, it was other things, more creative. Sorry, my hands are doing this. I'm part Italian, so my hands have to talk. Anyway, and then I went into her previous lives just for, to see what I could see and what she's supposed to be learning in this life, because she's such a phenom and such a powerful lady. And I saw her as, first of all, I saw her as a nun. I got multiple lives for her. Saw her as a nun, which opposite of what she is now pretty much. Well, she's not a nun now. Then I saw her on horseback. She was a man, a white man, a cowboy-ish, riding a horse. But I think she was gay. I don't know why I got that, but I got the impression she was gay in that life. And I didn't get any lassoing or any kind of weird things. I just saw the feeling that I had was gay. And then immediately I'm in another life where she is a British officer in World War I with a little mustache. And it was so interesting. So I asked, what is the point? What is she supposed to be learning in this life related to all of those? A British fighter, no, it's not the British fighter, excuse me. It was the gay horse rider. It was something about the feminine ideal, because the maleness of the soldier in World War I and this cowboy, I think it's like an amalgam of femininity mixed with power. That's the feeling I get, and what that looks like. And she is sorting in this life. She is sorting through that and actually healing her soul on some level from what she learned in previous incarnations, or what she was hurt by or did or something like that. So the feminine ideal was really great, and the powerful feminine of her, like a goddess archetype. Very interesting. Then I have to have a drink. Tea. Then 50 Cent, is that how they say that? I'm so not cool. Immediately I felt like there was some health thing. I got into his energy, and I don't think it's like terminal or anything, but I do feel like he's concerned about something. I don't know if it's prostate or something like that, but I do feel like he's keeping an eye on something, or it's something of concern that he's, dealing with. And then I saw him biting, and I took that as symbolic of his words or his life, where he's taking bites out of it. And he does have pretty prominent teeth, so it may just be that. Mystical musings, I don't know. Entertainment, right? I'm not sure. But then I saw him definitely wrapping his hands in tape. You know how boxers do before they put their gloves on? He was doing that for sure. No idea if he boxes, but man, oh man, I could feel when I was in his energy and I was hitting one of those tall bags hard, and I'm a woman, I cannot hit that hard. And it felt really good to hit the bag that hard. So he's punching it. Maybe that's symbolic of what he's doing in life. The boxing, hitting. But it felt really good. And I don't know if he's got a wife, a girlfriend, whatever. But I did see when he was in the ring, because I did see there's a young girl down at the floor level on the outside. I don't know if it's a daughter or girlfriend, but she was young. And so he does have that. And not that it matters. I just thought I'd bring that up. And so then I looked in his past life. And I saw him as an professor, academic. There's an academician, professor. He worked in a college somewhere. And I see him as white and, just a regular sized guy. But I asked, because I was like, is it because you're trying to be strong or something? And I guess that guy was meek, the professor. And in this life, 50 Cent was trying to give that part of himself. He wanted to be another way, to be strong, be powerful in a different way. But what's funny about that is that when I went into 50, I don't know how to say it. It sounds stupid. 50 Cent, that's how I'm going to say it. I hear this. I says, I am not a moron. And he, in this life, wants to be known as intelligent. So there is some sort of push me, pull me thing between the strength and the power of 50 Cent and this intelligence of this academician or professor person who is learning the strength, because it's like he's trying to combine strength and intelligence. But what I did also get was that he wants to be secure with money in this life. It's very important to him, and I feel very stable. No, his energy is big, but I don't feel wild. I feel like solid, like if you took a brick and put it on the ground, and like, I don't know if he's a Taurus or I don't know what his sign is. Maybe he's a Gemini. Anyway, his energy was stable again. So, very interesting. Then, took the trail over to Tupac. When I've seen images of him, he was killed the year my youngest son was born. And I think he was a Pisces, if I remember right. And whenever I would look at his face, not my son is too, but Tupac is, I thought. And whenever I would look in his eyes, I know he has lighter eyes, there was something, I don't want to say childlike or naive, and I know it's not innocent because he grew up in a situation probably where he's learned a lot. I imagine that his childhood, maybe it wasn't erratic, maybe at the least. But he immediately, when I saw him, he was very, his hands, think my hands move around, his are really moving around. He was the most animated out of any of these people. I was like, wow, okay, this will be easier. So he's ready to talk. I don't know if he's ready to talk to me, but it was easier. And maybe because he's been gone and he's kind of floating around, his energy around the earth. And yeah, so I'll tell you in a second what I mean by that. Yeah, but I felt like he says to me where he says, well, it was like a fresh flower in his prime being cut. Like, that's the picture I get. This delicate, there's these socks. My girlfriend, I gave them to her because she is sweet, but she also is tough. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. It says, I'm a fucking fragile flower. It was this thing that's what kind of it got in my mind when I saw them. And I know he's not a flower and he's a rap artist or hip hop artist. So it's different, but that's the energy I got. Just me, my musings, whatever, take it or leave it. And then he was reminding me that he wants to let people know that we're stuck in old grudges that long ago. Like, that was a long time ago. And he feels like it needs to be in the history books now. We don't need to hold on to it anymore. And we need to move past it. And he feels like he's being kept here to some extent by the energy or the wondering or the grudges that people have from that murder incident that happened between the two gangs or factions or whoever they were. And he is saying that time will pass rapidly now. And then he can move on. So the feeling I got was that we're holding him here by regurgitating this and talking about it. And he wasn't able to go on. And the other thing is when I asked about his past lives or whatever, and the weirdest thing, I saw him from space. I didn't see him from a life here on Earth. There's something called a crystal child, and it's Star Child, excuse me. Crystal children, Star Child is when the energy from an alien comes to Earth and merges in a human being form. And in the millennia before, they supposedly are here on Earth and they've mixed races with the aliens and humans. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the thing I got from him, is that he was part of this star seed, part of these star children. And that made me think of that fragile flower part, where he was so sensitive and so fragile. He might not have acted like it, but that's the feeling I get. And then he looked like glass, the crystal children, or the crystal children. That's what he reminded me. He was fragile like glass. So I also think if he hadn't died then, I don't know how much longer he would have lived, because I think he was so, I keep saying fragile, but not delicate, but he was so inevitably sensitive, and he would have probably gotten broken some way or the other, which is sad, but I guess that is part of his destiny here. So he wanted me to tell you this. He says, love each other, let go of grudges, we are all on the same side. He's referring to different factions, different groups. Don't do anything in my name. That's what he says. I learned what I needed to. You learn from your soul. And he says, no soul poaching. You know how there's cultural poaching or cultural appropriation from a group that takes on another group's characteristics or archetypes or cultural identity for their purpose. So he's referring to kind of like that. Like, don't hold on to his soul because he needs to move forward. And he says, let me go. Isn't that interesting? I found it super fascinating, and I'm always surprised at what I get. And I think part of this is because they did arrest somebody in that, I think he was the gang leader that didn't actually shoot him, but had the gun and had the plan, I think. So now that he's arrested, or he was arrested last year, I think that's going to accelerate the healing. And Tupac needs to move on. He wants everybody to move on. Not just him, but everybody. So we can heal that little fraction of our lives. And I feel like it's our duty to do that. Let him go. Say goodbye and thank him. Glad you came by. That's it. And I hope to see you next time. If you have any questions or comments, likes, again, subscribe. And I'd love it if you did that. And yeah, till next time.